Gelfman, and I'm the founder of the Disruption Institute. Today I'm going to be talking with Bo Fishback, who's the CEO and co-founder of Zaarly. This interview is really special to me because, before I founded the Disruption Institute, I created Kansas City IT Professionals, which is one of the largest tech communities in the nation. And about 5 years ago, we did Zaarly's first launch party here in Kansas City in 2011. It was just really memorable to think back to where we started and how we evolved to all these things that we're doing now in the community. What I'm going to be talking about with Bo today is, what lessons he's learned as an entrepreneur, why he loves Kansas City, what he thinks about the streetcar, and also what he thinks about our streetcar mobile app that we launched.
We're a marketplace for very, very well-vetted, super high-quality home service providers. So landscapers, house cleaners, carpenters, plumbers, electricians. We do all the background checking and the work to make sure they're going to be great, and then we guarantee you that they will be great to make sure that every job goes well. So local services is one of the last really gigantic parts of the economy where it's just fundamentally broken. So healthcare, education, and local services are the last three big markets where there's no correlation between price and quality. So the more you pay for something and what you get in return are just not related to each other. And so 5 years ago, we really started working on a better way to make local services work better. And we started with something extremely broad, honestly, to figure out what it would take to narrow in on an area where we could really make a difference and move the needle. And so we did a lot of discovery over the first 2 years, a lot of product iteration, and over that amount of time just really learned that we could really solve a unique problem for really high quality small business owners and for homeowners who really cared about who was going to be working on their house. And so we've really been doubling down on that for the last few years and hopefully building something pretty special. I think probably a big one is that people make a company work, not money. We've been pretty, successful on the fundraising trail, and at the end of the day, it just does not matter nearly as much as having the right people on the team who are really well aligned and who are solving a problem they care about. And so, spend more time and energy on people than money, I think, is just generally a good idea. But also, maybe the second thing would be nothing tells you the truth like the marketplace does in our case, right? And so, essentially, the numbers don't lie, and so you can believe whatever you want, you can wish anything that you want, but you know traction when you see it, and being able to follow the sentiment of that and execute well on top of it is what really helps build companies. I think one of the really hard parts about startups is that they're just surrounded in so much ambiguity. And do people care about what you're building? Do they want it? Do you need to make changes? Are you on the right path? You're not on the right path. And all of the moments that you have to kind of fight through to figure out how to build something that people are going to really care about are what hopefully will eventually result in something that's really useful and valuable to people and just, does all the good things that startups do and makes the world a better place, right? And so I think what people really mean when they talk about execution is the ability to not be distracted from accomplishing what you really ultimately want to accomplish. And you know the difference between when you're on that path and you're not on that path. And when you're not on it, you have to do everything you can to get on it. And when you're on it, you have to do everything you can to stay on it. And I think it's one of the hardest things about startups is to really just stay focused on the long-term goal when there's so many distractions and so many shiny keys to change. And it's what eventually spits out really cool companies sometimes. I actually think it's really easy to get obsessed with competition in the startup space, and many smarter people than me have said this over time, but startups do not compete with other startups, they compete with anybody giving a shit. And at the end of the day, especially if you're in a local company like I'm in the local marketplace, especially if you're in an area that's home services, working with small businesses, your competition is just people caring enough to engage and be a part of what you're building. It is almost never it's almost never other companies in the space. And so it doesn't really matter. You have to know it and understand it so you can learn from what they're doing and hopefully make your company better. But it's that should consume 1 to 2% of people's times, and I think a lot of times it consumes 80 to 90% of people's time, and that's just the wrong balance. because the people in Kansas City are awesome. I mean, we've lived in Madison, Wisconsin, and I've spent more time in the Bay Area than most people in the world. And we lived in Boston, and I grew up in Georgia. My wife grew up in Colorado, went to school in Texas. We've lived a lot of places, but I don't think we will ever live anywhere else actually after this, because Kansas City is it's just been a great town to us. We love the people. We love what is going on here. On the one hand, we loved it in 2000 when we moved here, and 16 years later, it is just a better and better and better city. And I think only now are people outside of Kansas City really starting to recognize that. I think that actually a lot of what has happened in the last 10 years has been built on the back of a lot of the philanthropy that happened here over time. In no small part due to somebody like Mr. Kaufman from a generation ago, basically, but he really laid the groundwork for a lot of awesome stuff. I think Kansas City is getting a lot of what it needs these days. I think we're doing a lot of the right things, and we just need to not stop. We need to kind of keep the pedal to the metal, keep bringing new people, not be afraid to recruit and bring talent here, and then help them be successful. It's we're not going to have a gigantic venture capital community that springs up overnight. We're not going to have those things that you have to earn over the long term. And so I think if everybody stays heads down and builds cool stuff, we've got a pretty good shot at it. It's cool, man. I've told a couple of people in the last couple of weeks that driving through downtown now feels like a real city down here. We've been on the streetcar. We were on it for 30 minutes before we could sit down and do this video because there's so many people on this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, which is awesome. I don't know, it feels vibrant. Yeah, so check out the app. I actually had to install it on my wife's phone because I'm currently carrying an Android with me. It's slick, man. Honestly, the first thing I thought was looks like the official Streetcar app. And one of the questions I had for you was, is this the official Streetcar app? Which you then told me, it is not, but it's becoming that. And that's, it's cool, man. It's slick. It's a good idea. Honestly, I think it will get good usage and be well adopted. It's really well executed.